Hi, welcome to AllBrands After Hours. Me, your host, Courtney Douthat. Welcome to the show where we hang out and craft together. Today we'll be using Puffy foam and our brother Scan and Cut to make a custom sweatshirt. Let's do this. Now you heard me correct. We are using our brother Scan and Cut to cut out Puffy foam. Now Puffy foam is 3 millimeters thick, which is perfect because we can cut out a 3 millimeter thickness. Now there is Puffy foam that comes in 2 millimeters, 4 millimeters, 5 millimeters. I've tested most of them and I really like a 3 millimeter thickness. It gives me the right depth that I want. But if you want to go thicker, you totally could. You just only can put 3 millimeters into Scan and Cut. If you wanted to cut out 2 of those and stack them together, that's totally fine. But for today, we are using 3 millimeter thickness. Now, Courtney, how'd you get the design? Where is the design come from? Is it a special design? Where does it come from? So I'm actually using my brother's 6 needle, and I really love my machine. So I'm actually gonna jump over to my 6 needles. I don't know if you guys know, but right across this tree actually lives my 6 needle. So you'll get to see a new part of my studio. So let's jump over there, get my design, get it all ready so we can bring it over to my Scan and Cut to cut out. So over here is actually where my 6 needle lives. So this is the tree for reference. She sits right here, right in arm's distance, so I can play with her all day long. Now, I am going to use a built-in design out of my 6 needle. However, if you have any design that is an applique design, you could actually do this as well. So it doesn't have to be from the 6 needle, but is the 6 needle awesome? Yes, and before anyone asks, it is the PR680W, and yes, it is available on our website, allbrands.com. So let's jump onto the screen and go ahead and start doing my design. Alrighty, so we are going to wake my machine up. Good morning, machine. And I'm actually going to use the designs that are found right here. And right here is actually applique designs. So you notice how they don't have any stitches in the middle, where if I had used a design over here, you see how there's stuff in the middle? Even this one, there's stitches in the middle. So these are actually applique designs. So I'm going to scroll down because I want my sweatshirt to say mama, because those are all the rave lately and I want to make them some of my own. So we've got an M. Now right here at the bottom, I'm going to select medium, not large, because that is the size that I personally want. So M, and then hit set. I'm going to hit add, back to those designs, A. Now Courtney, why are you bringing this in one at a time? Because this isn't like a regular font where I would type in everything and be able to hit set. These are actually applique, so I'm bringing them one in at a time. So I'm going to go ahead, ooh, wrong one. Now, do not worry about lining them up right now. It does not matter because we have alignment tools. We can do that later. So here again, applique font. Gonna go grab my M, medium, set, add, A, medium, set. There we go. Now we have all of our letters. How cute. Oh, I love it. All right, now, one of the favorite things that I love that they have is the alignment tool, which is this right here. But if I was to hit that with just one selected, it doesn't have anything to line up. What is it going to line up if it's just one item? So I'm going to come to my selector tools right here, select everything. See how that red box is over everything? We're going to select everything, hit OK. And now we're going to come to our alignment tools. Now, the ones that we personally need are the ones in the center. Because if you notice, you can align to the top. See how that line is at the top with those 2 icons? Or you can align at the bottom. You see how those align at the bottom. So for us, they're the same size. We brought them in at the same size. But I like to just universally align from the bottom. I don't know. It's like writing. I feel like it all should be aligned from the bottom. So I like from the bottom. So we've aligned everything from the bottom. There we go. Everything looks great. We're going to hit OK. Because if I felt like, okay, well, it lined it up pretty well, but what if I want my M right here to go ahead and move over a little bit? I would select that and then come here and individually move it over. Ooh, and if you go too quick, it goes pretty fast. All right, beautiful. Okay, so we have our design. We like it. We're going to end editing. And now we're going to come to memory down here because we want to send our design over to our USB that I have already plugged into here. Nothing special about this USB. Like I always said, I just sold this one for my husband. So I'm going to go to USB 1. There's USB 1 and USB 2. So I'm going to go to USB 1 and it's going to go automatically save it over there for me. And again, we have Scan and Cut so she can read a number of files. So she's actually going to be able to read what we're saving this to and be able to cut it out. All right, so it's saved on over there, but now Courtney, so why did it have to be an applique font? Why couldn't it have been any of the other ones? I mean, it could have, but the applique font is going to do that tack down line that scan and cut is going to look for. So an applique is exactly what we want. Plus my finished result is what I want out of this. So let's go ahead, take our USB and bring it over to our scan and cut. Alright, so I have my 3mm puff foam and I am using my purple standard mat today. Now Courtney, why aren't you using a fabric mat? Because I feel like a fabric mat is just too sticky. It's kind of like unnecessarily sticky. We don't need that much. So a standard mat will do us just good. Now Courtney, why aren't you using a blue low tack mat? Because that's not as sticky as we need. So standard mat right in the middle. She's kind of a multi-purpose mat. Love this mat. So let's grab my design. Alright, so we're going to go to retrieve data from our USB in the B pocket. And if you notice, I've done this a few times. So I'm going to select this last one right here. It actually has an applique design. So we usually go to the flower because there isn't an applique design and we're making it from scratch. However, this design did because we created it. So we're going to go to the shield and there are all my pieces laid out for me. So I'm going to select the M, hit OK. There we go. Set her on my mat. I'm not changing size or anything because for what we're wanting to do, we want it to stay the same size. Hit add, go to the A, set. There we go. Hit add, get the next part, which is our M, hit OK, set. And then last but not least, we go back and get our other A. Now Courtney, could you have just used the first A and M and doubled them? Yes, if I wanted to, but I like to do it, lay it out like this. But it's personal preference. Alright, so all of our pieces are on there. They look great. We're going to go ahead, and I like to scan in my material because I'm pretty sure my puffy foam, that A is going to get cut off, so I'm going to have to maneuver it somewhere different. So being able to scan in our background by a click of a button is amazing. So what she's going to do now is scan in my material so I can see in color what's on my mat. This is a great way to use up your scraps or anything like that. So say I had a bunch of little bitty foam pieces left over from projects, I could still be able to do my design as long as they're at least big enough for one. Alright, so in color, there she is. Now, if you ever feel like it's really hard to see your design, if you do click the letter, they do put a red box. However, you could come to the wrench icon and then lower the scan like that, or completely turn it off, but we want to see it. That way you can see your design. So I can still see where it's scanned, but I can see my design a little bit better. So all of them look great, except my A down at the bottom. That poor girl, she's going to have to be moved. And let's see, I can move her right here if I wanted to. And now I know that she is going to be able to be cut out just fine. Now I am going to bring her down just a little, like that. So now I know all my pieces are perfectly going to be cut out. Now if you notice right up here, you feel like you see a little white, it's totally fine. I know that I put my design right at the edge. Alrighty, so we're going to hit OK. Please select, and we want to cut. Now for today, I am using my black auto blade. She is again my multi-purpose blade. So I'm using my multi-purpose blade and my multi-purpose mat. Alright, I'm going to drop her in. Everything's good. Half cut is off. We always want to make sure of that because half cut is usually only used for vinyl. So let's hit start. So she's going to come over and she's going to test the middle. This always worries people because they're like, why is she going to the middle first? She always likes to detect where the mat is and then she'll start cutting. There she goes. She's going down. And we're off. It's always a habit to touch it and be like, are you stuck on there? She's totally stuck on there. This is a clean mat. I was good. I cleaned my mats before this. She'll be fine. Now I know I'm going to get the question, Courtney, where do I get my puff foam? What brand do I use? I personally like Dime and Sulky. It's up to you which one you want to use. Both of them can of course be found on our website, allbrands.com, and that's exactly what I'm using here. And I'll of course link them in the description. There she goes around. Now the way that the scan and cut works for super thick things. Now right now my bar at the side is up to a 2. If I hadn't put it at a 2, it would have told me on the screen, hey, don't forget to set your bar up to a 2. So it's at a 2 instead of a 1. So if it had been at a 1, it would have told me to flip it to a 2. You don't need to know when to do that. The machine is going to tell you, but if you ever want to, just like how I do preemptively, I just pop it up to a 2. If I know I'm doing something, then I pop it down to a 1. But that's how you do it, because there's an internal bar that actually lifts from inside of the machine to be able to do those super thick things. So very, very cool. I love how that works. Now, instead of forcing that blade to go all the way through that material, what she's going to do, like how she's doing right now, is she's going to go around and score first to get us, you know, a little bit. So maybe like a little over a 1 millimeter to a 2 millimeter at a time. and then she's going to come back and do it again. So that way she's gradually going down. So think, she's cutting, scoring, and then she's going to go down a little bit more, and then she's going to go down a little bit more to give me those smooth, crisp cuts that I love. Now she's automatically doing that for me. Why do I love that? Because when you force that blade through, that's when you get movement. That's when you get rivets. That's when you get mistakes. So I love that she does it gradually like that, because when you see the sides are smooth like butter. They're awesome. So I love that that's the way she cuts. And she cuts right on the same line. So right on the money, she's going to cut exactly the same every time to give me that perfect cut. So there's not going to be any rivets, any mess ups, any pulls, anything like that. It's perfect every time. Now while she's cutting out, of course, I want to do the AllBrands Behind the Scenes Membership Spotlight. Dalcia Hamilton, you are a membership spotlight. Thank you so much for being a member, Dalcia. And if you guys don't know that AllBrands Behind the Scenes is a membership program, it is a paid membership program that you get additional content with me, a weekly live chat video with me, and a bunch of other things. So if you want to join that membership, definitely check out the description below. And on a side note, if you met me at EMOSQE, it was so great to meet you in person. I had a blast at a show. I've lost my voice a little. If you can't tell, it's slowly coming back if I ever stop talking. I don't. But it was wonderful to meet you guys. If I did meet you there in person, it was so cool to actually get to hang out with everyone, teach a bunch of class, and just have a good time. Alrighty, and she's done. Look how easy they just like, boop. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm excited. Oh, I'm geeking out. This is good. This is good. Look at that. Okay, one, they're just cute on their own. Like, cute. Cute, 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 cute. Okay, there we go. And boop, 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 boop. There we go. Oh my goodness. Like, that's thick. She's thick. Oh my goodness. So, it doesn't matter which order they're in because they're all the same size on the machine. Oh my goodness. And look at that. I still have a little bit that I could use. And you know I'm frugal and I'm going to keep using this little bit. So, love it, love it, love it. Let me throw this over here. Alright, now before we jump back over to our machine, I'm going to go ahead and hoop up my stuff that I have. Should this go this way? Yeah. Long enough. There you go. Alright, so I'm going to cut some stabilizer. There we go. Gorgeous. Now, I actually, for what we're doing, I like to use 2 pieces personally. It is up to you what you prefer. Ooh, I'm at the end of my roll. Look at that. It's a little bit pride whenever you get to use up the whole roll of stabilizer. So, now this is personal preference, but I like to use cutaway for this because think if it's tearaway, it's going to go through multiple times. It's an applique. It's going to go through multiple times, and I really wouldn't like it to be perforated. So, I'm personally going to use cutaway instead of tearaway for this. Now, Courtney, could I use a different stabilizer? That is up to you, but you need to make sure that it's, you know, hardy enough to actually hold all these stitches that are going into it. So the one I'm using is actually exquisite. It's the black heavy soft stabilizer. It's the one that I'm personally using, but you use whatever you prefer. Just make sure that it's thick enough to hold all these stitches, so strong enough to hold all the stitches is what I mean. Beautiful. Gorgeous. So let's go ahead and put this in our machine and get stitching. Alrighty, so we have our hoop here, and I'm going to go ahead and put it in. Now, Courtney, you haven't hooped any material, and you would be correct about that because the reason I haven't hooped any material is because you actually stitch out first the design on the stabilizer to know where to put your foam pieces. And then you put your sweatshirt or whatever it is that you're putting it on. There we go. She's locked and loaded in there. Gorgeous. Alright, wake my machine back up. Alright, everything looks great on there, so I'm going to say embroidery. And I'm actually going to make everything come from, I believe it's number 2 for me. So I'm going to hit this little icon right here with the my little magic wand right here. And I think everything is set to a 2. So I'm going to set everything to a 2. Alright, now everything is currently set to the thread number 2, which is what I want. It's actually a pretty navy that I'm going to be using today. You could, of course, set it to any color that you wanted. If you wanted it to match your sweatshirt, you could do it to whatever sweatshirt. My sweatshirt is actually this pretty gray one right here, but if I had wanted to switch it to be gray fabric, gray thread, then it would have been like a monochromatic moment for me. Before it actually embroiders, I want to come here because I want to put some stops in. I want to tell it to not do certain stitches for me. Now, if I come right here to where it's the little bitty paper with the 2 little threads, this is where I could tell it, hey, don't stitch. Now, these are stops Right here, the little hand tells you, hey, stop in between these steps, which is what we need for appliques because we need to stop usually to cut, to do different things like that. So I don't mind the stops, but the no stitches. So this is where the cut one is, so that's what kind of tells me it's an applique, but I don't need these. So I'm gonna tell it, don't stitch these for me right now. So I'm actually going to do that everything that is not that tack down line, because right now I only want those tack down lines. So I'm kind of editing the design just for right now. It'll be fine. We can always put it back. So if there's a way that you prefer it, or if your design is all grouped together, then you could do it that way, but this is just how I do it when I bring it in this way. All right, embroidery. There we go. So now it's only giving me those, and it's going to do them back to back. Because if it had done the regular applique, it would have wanted to finish that first applique before it brought it onto the second one. But for what we need, we just need tack down stitches. So this is my workaround to be able to do that. There we go. A, and now I'm going to hit a lock again. There we go. So it can do my next one for me. Go, and again, lock. Now again, if you group this, you would not have to do these steps. So now it is actually stitched out on there like that. So what I would do is I would actually come and put some 505 on the back of my foam piece and then put it right over where it showed me. Now, Courtney, why the 505 spray? Because if I do the 505 spray, there's not going to be any shifting. So I want the 505 spray. Now, could you use other things to adhere to the back of it? Yes, you can. But is the 505 going to do a great job? Yes, it is. And it's very quick. It's just a spray adhesive. All right, so we take my letters and again, a little bit of 505. Ah, she's running off. Usually I'm really bad and I put my finger on this. Now, Dime does have those little spray tins. Oh, I need to get one. There we go. Little mist will do us. Looks like snow. There we go. And now she's good to put on my machine. Here we go. All right, I feel like I got it pretty good on there. Maybe I can move it up just a tad bit. Yeah, I should move it up. Okay, there we go. All right, she's on there. I think I aligned it pretty well, if I do say so myself, and I do. All right, so now that I have that, I'm actually going to remove this from here before I even embroider anything else. So now that we have that, how cool is that? I'm not going to touch it a ton, but how cool is that? So we're actually going to go ahead and put our sweatshirt on there. This is where things get interesting. Okay, so this is my sweatshirt right here. So of course we're going to do it on the front of it, and I like a good oversized sweatshirt. So I'm actually going to spray this. I know, it sounds crazy. So I'm actually going to spray it because what I want to do is to be able to slip my sweatshirt on there and then kind of push in the creases to get my sweatshirt in there before I stitch it out, okay? So we're going, I know, this smells really bad to do it in your frame, but you can't unhook it, so just be careful. Oh, it's like snow. And not only do we want to get the letters, we want to kind of get the stabilizer around there because We want, again, everything to push down into there. All right, whew. Oh, put that over there. Whew. Alrighty, so here we go. The scary part of it all, guys. We are going to open up our sweatshirt. Now, if you wanted to pre-mark it to make sure that you're putting things where you're supposed to, I highly recommend it. I'm just gonna go for it. Oh, okay. Make sure your sweatshirt. So I'm pulling it towards me, but I'm trying to keep it away from the hoop right now, because I don't want it to stick down yet. I want to tell it where to stick down. All right. Oh, all right. Oh, I'm scared. There we go. All right, so I have the center of it pretty centered. There we go. I don't want it too high. You know, I want it like in the chest area. All right, 3, 2, 1. All right, it's on there. I'm pressing it down. It's on there. What I'm actually going to do is to take my stylus from my scan and cut, and I'm going to start doing like this. You could do it with either side, the pointy side or the not pointy side. I'm going to start with this side, and I'm actually going to work it into these crevices because I really want to make sure, like things with my A, I really want to make sure the sweatshirt gets inside of there. There we go. We're just going to make our way. And you see how easy that scan and cut stylus gets into all this? Like, oh. And see if I wanted to like really go into detail, I could do that. How amazing. Now you see why we put so much 505 on there a minute ago, because I really want to get into the crevices of this. Go. Okay. All right, so she is on there. And again, I could probably go over it a few more times, but like, oh, how cool is that? Oh, like you can already see it. Like that is so cool. Now, I did do a tester one the other day, and I did a smaller font, which it still came out good. And I used a red stitch, so that way it looked like this. Today, I'm doing a different color, but if you did want to do it with red, and like I just had, it wasn't even an applique, it was just like a stitch down design. You could do it that way to get something like this, so it looks more invisible in there. I'm going to do an actual satin stitch around it, but that is personal preference, which one you prefer. I've done it both ways. So let's get this on my machine. All right, so I'm going to go to edit embroidery. So I'm going to come back to here where I did earlier. And now what I'm going to do is tell it to not stitch that first one, but come stitch these other ones. So I want the pretty satin stitch. I don't really need that second tack down stitch. It's not really necessary for what I want to do. So I'm going to leave that not being stitched out. There we go. There we go. Beautiful. So now I can hit embroidery. Now it's only got the pretty satin stitches down for me. Okay. So I've got it on here, and what I love about a free arm is the arm is under here. So as long as anything is under here, it's not going to be stitched in. So I'm actually going to pull my sweatshirt, and it sits underneath there. How freaking amazing. All right, so we have our beautiful satin stitch. I'm going to go ahead and lock down, and it's going to start. So the main reason I'm using my 6 needle to do this is that I actually really like how my sweatshirt can hang over the end of it. So as long as it's like under here, you see that, where it comes under, it can wrap around that free arm and not be in the way. So as long as it's out of that field area, I'm good. Like you can see the rest of my sweatshirt's just hanging off the side. It does not matter. She is done. Now I do want to just show something. So what I should have done was flip the design upside down so the rest of my sweatshirt could have hung underneath. But look at that. Even with that, there's my sweatshirt. It's under here, so as long as it's under that free arm, you're golden. So all I did was slip it under there. But if I had flipped the design, this whole part could have been underneath. I mean, look, my arms are just hanging, like everything. I love a free arm machine. All right, so let's take it off the hoop. Oh my goodness. I'm so excited to get this out of the frame. Look. Whoa. Okay, now from afar, it doesn't look like very much, but when you get up close and see all the rays, like I'm gonna do an up close shot so you can see all of it being raised. Like, now again, it depends on what you want, if you like the satin stitch or if you like a more minimal stitch around it. It's totally up to you. I kind of feel like you see it a little bit better with this instead of the satin stitch, because the satin stitch is very chunky, but it is whatever personal preference you want. I think going forward, I'll probably do this one. I mean, not that this one's not great, but this one's pretty cool. So tell me in the comments, what would you prefer? A very thin stitch or a very chunky stitch? Whatever you prefer. Again, let me know down in the comments. And guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. Don't forget that the Brothers Scan and Cut and the PR 680 are available on our website, allbrands.com, and we purchase through us. Not only are you supporting a small mom and pop, family owned and operated business since 1976, but you're also helping us continue this free education that we do. So thank you guys so much. All right, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe, because the easiest way to let this mama know that you want more videos. Y'all have a good night. Bye. And it's on. Okay. I wasn't sure if I plugged it in. I did. We're good. Come on button. I didn't even know the come on button. Okay, learning something new about my shirt. Okay. Welcome to the show where we hang out and craft together. Today we'll be using our Brothers Scan and Cuts. Scan and Cuts? Oh, that's not Scan and Cut. The next part, which is our M. Oops. Okay, Courtney, click it. There you go. Our M. Now, normally for this, I would just use my snap frame. I love my brother and my dime snap frames. I usually use these because I don't like hooping. We don't hoop much on this show, and there's a reason, because I don't like doing it. I usually just use the snap frames. All right, there we go. All right, there we go. Ah! We're gonna pretend that went in the trash can just now. I did it crooked. Is it crooked?